2020 was a wild year, and while a pandemic was ravaging the world, we really got to find out how terrible some celebrities truly are. Everything from people's past tweets coming up to current incidents that got them cancelled. Today we'll be breaking down all of the celebrities who completely lost everything in 2020. Some of it may have been their own doing, while others just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Coming in at number 10, Lana Del Rey. The beginning of the end for Lana Del Rey started with a letter that was a question for the culture. At the start of the letter she posted, Lana said, "Now that Doja Cat, Ariana, Camila, Cardi B, Kalani, and Nicki Minaj and Beyonce have had number ones with songs about being sexy, wearing no clothes, f***ing, cheating, etc., can I please go back to singing about being embodied, feeling beautiful by being in love even if the relationship is not perfect, or dancing for money, or whatever I want, without being crucified or saying that I'm glamorizing abuse." This letter came after she was criticized for being anti-feminist and glamorizing abuse in her most recent album. However, this letter led to her being cancelled by the general public on Twitter because the majority of the artists that she mentioned were of color, which is why we saw the very punny hashtag of Lana Del Racist start to trend on Twitter. She did clarify later on that this post was not meant to be racist and that she loves all of those artists, but Twitter just wasn't having any of it. Also, before we hit our next number, I need you guys to hit that like button to show some love to the channel. And with that out of the way, coming in at number 9, Jenna Marbles. Jenna has been on YouTube for a very long time, and after multiple videos of hers blew up, she really began garnering millions of subscribers. 20 million to be more precise. Although in a video titled A Message, Jenna addressed the controversy of her older content. She apologized for the video that she made impersonating Nicki Minaj in 2011 where she donned blackface and went on to say,
"Not my intention to do blackface. I do want to tell you how unbelievably sorry I am if I ever offended you by posting this video."
In response to the outcry on the internet to have her cancelled, Jenna archived the old videos and announced that she would be stepping away from the channel. She said that she doesn't know if it's forever, but she wants to make sure that the things she puts out in the world aren't hurting anyone. Coming in at number 8, Tory Lanez. Canadian rapper Tory Lanez, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, really gained mass popularity throughout this pandemic by constantly doing Instagram live sessions. His show was called Quarantine Radio and featured a ton of content that really broke the community guidelines of Instagram. Regardless, his fans still crowned him the Quarantine King, and with that clout around his name now, we saw Tory hanging around the likes of Kylie Jenner and Megan Thee Stallion. Which brings us to what Tory was being exposed and ultimately cancelled for. Megan was in a car with Tory Lanez and a member of his security team driving through an LA neighborhood. Apparently an argument took place that resulted in Megan deciding that she was going to get out of the car and walk to where she was staying. However, before she could do so, Tory had allegedly shot her in the foot.
Since y'all so worried about it, yes, this Tory shot me. You shot me.
Either way, Meg calling Tory out led to many of his fans turning on him, and thus another celebrity was cancelled. Coming in at number 7, RuPaul. Fans of RuPaul's Drag Race were appalled after its namesake began a controversy that suggested he was more behind the times than they initially believed. The show was created to be a forefront to celebrate the LGBTQ community, but RuPaul's comments put all that progress into reverse. During an interview he did with The Guardian, writer Decca Aikenwood was questioning RuPaul about the contradiction between his playful sensibility and the militant stance he has on the transgender movement. The writer noted that RuPaul seemed to pick his next words very carefully, but still said that he probably wouldn't have admitted a transgender woman like Peppermint if she had already started gender-affirming surgery. He went on to say, "You can identify as a woman and say you're transitioning, but it changes once you start changing your body. It takes on a different thing. It changes the whole concept of what we're doing." And because of that, he was rightfully cancelled. Coming in at number 6, Shane Dawson. After what happened to George Floyd, America went into civil unrest, and the people demanded answers from law enforcement. Along with that, however, comes the necessary task of curating our culture to get rid of the problematic people who only add fuel to the fire. Get rid of sounds awful, but what I mean is hold them responsible so that we can admit our own mistakes and move forwards as a society. The weirdest part about Shane Dawson doing blackface is that he had done it on more than one occasion, and done so in a time where we thought that people would be more tolerant and progressive. Even weirder is that when he apologized for taking his sketches too far with blackface, a bunch of his white fans were like, "Oh, we forgive you. I'm sorry to say this, but that apology wasn't meant for you. It's meant for the people that he was mocking, and I don't think letting this one slide was a wise idea." There have been many red flags with Shane Dawson, but this one should have and will be the final straw. Coming in at number 5, Sherry Pie. For RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12, they were burdened by a very strong accusation against one of their performers. Contestant Sherry Pie was axed from the show after he allegedly tried to groom and catfish 5 men. He had pretended to be a casting director and asked each of the men to send in videos of them doing very degrading things. Although upon the victims doing further research into this supposed casting director, they discovered that it was all fake. The issue with taking Joey, who plays Sherry Pie, off the show though, was that Sherry had won most of the competitions, so he couldn't just be easily edited out. Sherry Pie has apologized and admitted that his behavior behavior was terribly embarrassing. Regardless, he was disqualified from the show, and the producers did their very best to remove most of his images, giving him very minimal screen time. Coming in at number 4, Jessica Mulroney. CTV announced that they would be removing Jessica's reality show called I Do Redo because her recent conduct conflicted with the broadcaster's commitment to diversity and equality. Influencer Sasha Exter accused Mulroney of trying to threaten her livelihood. Sasha made a post about the importance of speaking out against racism, and it was oddly met with criticism from Jessica. Exter said that she was not calling Jessica racist, but said that she is very well aware of her wealth and power, along with the privilege that she is afforded due to her skin color. Apparently, Jessica took offense to Sasha simply asking her audience to support speaking out against racism. All of those comments have since been deleted, but what will stay up forever is this letter from CTV that said, "Because recent conduct by one of our show hosts, Jessica Mulroney, conflicts with our commitment to diversity and equality, CTV has removed I Do Redo from all Bell Media channels and platforms effective immediately." Coming in at number 3, Chris D'Elia. D'Elia was cancelled and had been accused of grooming and attempting to solicit nude photographs from underage girls. A woman named Simone tweeted out a screenshot of her alleged interactions with Chris, which began a thread of other women sharing their interactions with him as well. The stories were all pretty horrific, considering that they were all allegedly underage at the time that Chris had sent these messages to them. However, in response to having his name dragged through the mud online, Chris told TMZ, "I know I have said and done things that might have offended people during my career, but I have never knowingly pursued any underage women at any point." Chris then goes on to say, "All of my relationships have been both legal and consensual, and I have never met or exchanged any inappropriate photos with the people who have tweeted about me." And regardless, he was out. In at number 2, Ellen DeGeneres. When Kevin Porter tweeted this out, "Right now we all need a little kindness, you know, like Ellen DeGeneres always talks about. She's also notoriously one of the meanest people alive. Respond to this with the most insane stories you've all heard about Ellen being mean, and I'll match everyone with $2 to the LA Food Bank." And the response was overwhelming. However, for this point, let's focus in on the ones about the bizarre rules for her staff, because that alone was enough to get her cancelled. Benjamin Simon said, "A, she has a sensitive nose, so everyone must chew gum from a bowl outside her office before talking to her, and if she thinks you smell that day, you have to go home and shower." I mean, you have to go home and shower? Who does that? What a weird power move. You smell, so stop working for me, go home, shower, and then come back and stay late. Okay. Chelsea Babcock also said, "When I was working on At Midnight, our stage manager told us to never work for Ellen. He told us she has signs up in her office that say, 'Do not look the host in the eye.' I'm sorry, but that's far from normal. Don't look her in the eye? That's a really bizarre rule to have." Last but certainly not least, on our number 1 spot, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp has been tangled up in his legal battle with Amber Heard for quite some time now. The initial article from the Sun newspaper that referred to Depp as a wife beater severely damaged the actor's reputation, and as a result, we saw him being unceremoniously pulled from the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. In light of the article, author J.K. Rowling defended Depp and his inclusion with her series called Fantastic Beasts. However, following the loss of his high-profile libel case against UK newspaper The Sun, Depp was forced out of Fantastic Beasts by Warner Brothers. So despite this legal battle going on for years, it was 2020 that Johnny Depp truly began to lose all of his opportunities. With that though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 Celebrities Who Were Publicly Shamed. Cat Charlie says, "If there's a part 2 for celebrities who were publicly shamed, I'm all in." I will let the great managers know. We'll get you a part 2. Beezer says, "Thanks for throwing in the nefarious. It's one of my favorite words." I know, Beezer, that's why I always throw it in. Every time I type it, I'm like, I hope Beezer likes this one. The Fanfic Kid says, "Why are people hating on Harry? If he wants to wear a dress, let him wear a dress." I know, right? Like, it's not like Harry's like, "Now that I'm wearing a dress, you gotta wear it." He never even said that. Never said that. Totally agree with your comment. Stephen Smith says, "Kevin Spacey will be publicly shamed too." He's already been publicly shamed, bro. Jane Jones says, "The Kathy Griffin thing probably was the worst for her. All the others seem to pick right back up from where they were." Yeah, I think even Kathy Griffin is picking up right from where she left off too. Surprisingly, but also not so surprisingly, because it is Hollywood and they just seem to forget controversies whenever they feel like it. But that's all I have for you guys today. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy.